Welcome back everyone to the Two-Headed Wolf Gaming channel and our Marksman, now at level 32. I have to be honest, the farming session in between episodes have definitely been a lot slower and a lot tougher in comparison to the Sentinel and its mastery, and I think I know the main reason why. If you just stumbled upon these episodes, in between the episodes what I'm doing is that I am farming. I am farming for extra levels, and I rarely spend passive or active skill points, and if I find equipment, I rarely throw it in. Generally speaking, I am just gathering all this up so that at the beginning of an episode I am spending all of them at once, and we can get the feel for the new power level and the thinking behind it. And we can even compare it to the previous episode to see the bigger differences in how the character has grown. That is the idea. Anyway, so one of the main things that the Masteries had for the Sentinel was that it was mostly focused on either physical damage or it added up extra elemental damage using either fire or electricity, things like that. So it's a flat damage, generally easily to increase. Well, as far as the choices we've made using the Marksman here is that we went for damage over time, and thus I think we've fallen behind a lot if we haven't changed our equipment and invested point in extra damage over time or increased chance to poison or bleed or things like that. So I think this is where the main issues lie, and we're gonna check that out in a second. For right now, I just threw in some idols, nothing too special. I decided not to puzzle during the episode. I just have some extra physical resistance, extra chance to poison on hit, the same goes over here, necrotic resistance, a bit of stun chance, a bit of increased damage over time. Overall, nothing too special. I just like I use whatever I found. I don't have better gear at the moment. I also found this idol, which looks pretty interesting. I'm going to put it in our stash and use it tomorrow when we're making our, what is it called? Dagger Dancer, something like this. Sword Dancers, I think that was the name. This one gives us 90% increased physical penetration with Shadow Daggers and 12 ward gain on, on the use of Shift. Shift is this ability right here. We could even use it today, I guess. I guess we could get a bit of word on shift. No, we don't have enough space. I still need some space in order to throw this in. We'll put it in our stash, use it tomorrow. We'll take a look at the other equipment in a second, but let's take a look here in the character screen. You can see that the resistances, these are the resistances that I'm running with at the moment. Poison resistance is now at 55%, which is perfect for the following area of the desert because there's all those scorpions and poison dealing enemies. Over on this side, we can, in the other section, we can see that we have our bleed and poison chance. Bleed is at 35%. We are doing 115 damage over its 3-second duration. So it's not bad, it's not great either. Poison chance is at 56%, but we're doing only 56 poison damage. So this is not great. This is the main reason why things have been so tough for me in the farming session. For now, I'm just gonna replace the equipment that I have. Nothing too crazy. This helmet I like because it gives us +1 to puncture and we use it, so we're getting an extra skill point there. I have slightly better armor, just giving us some health, some vitality and 24% increased armor. I like that over mana at this moment. A better belt, just giving us some, once again, extra armor, but I like the fact that it's also giving us dodge, so that is perfect. Plus a bit of mana regeneration. I think I'm going to go with this relic. We're losing 22% chance to poison on hit at the moment, but it's also giving us a 27% chance to shred armor on hit and some damage over time increase. I think I like that, plus the resistances. Overall, I think it's better. We also have these gloves, these experimental bracers, giving us dodge rating, armor, some dexterity, some health regeneration. Armor mitigation also applies to damage over time, so if we get poisoned, now armor will apply to damage mitigation, or 9% of it. So it's not bad overall. I like it. We're losing on some resistances, but I think it's going to be better for us, especially when it comes to dodge rating. And then I have over here a better amulet on one side because it's giving us a higher critical strike chance and some physical and poison resistance. So overall, I think it's pretty good for survivability for us. I also found this helmet. It's something that we will probably use at the druid. 14 health regeneration, 29 void resistance, 97 endurance threshold, 100% chance to taunt nearby enemies for 2 seconds when you stun an enemy. We have the second piece of this set. We are gonna get 20 health gain on stun, and I like that idea a lot. If we get 3 sets, we get plus 30 to strength. And overall, I really feel like this is a really good choice for a helmet. Uh, when it comes to the druid, I'm thinking maybe we'll play it while using minions, because that means that we're stunning them, stunning surrounding enemies, and we're gaining hit while doing so. But either way, that's gonna be a story for a different time. Let's start spending some passive skill points here. And we can go in elemental arrows. If you have a bow equipped, you gain 1 elemental arrow per second while moving up to a maximum of 3. Using a bow attack expands the elemental arrow to deal additional bow fire damage and bow lining damage. Okay. Almost feels like I could spend even 1 point here and it would still, but it's only plus 3 to damage, so it's not a crazy amount. We could go with Missile Mastery. You have increased bow and throwing attack damage, and you have a chance to shred armor on hit. I do like that a lot. Concentration. By default, you have concentration, which increases your damage. If you are hit by an enemy within 4 meters, you lose concentration for 4 seconds. Subsequent hits do not reset the cooldown. Well, what does concentration do then? Oh, which increases your damage, so that's what it does. And we can push this even further. I am going to go with 15% chance to shred the armor and getting that 15% increased bow damage. We're gonna go with some extra chance here to do damage with concentration. Although we are getting hit often. But we'll keep that there. Thorn Fletcher, if you have a bow equipped, you deal increased elemental damage and gain elemental arrows. So everything up here will be about elementals. Yes, we're gonna leave them alone. Prolonged Demise, you take less damage over time. While wielding a bow, you deal increased damage over time. I like that idea a lot. Wound Maker, you have a chance to inflict critical vulnerability on hit, which I believe increases the chance to take a critical hit. Yes. Adds an additional 2% chance to be crit, reduces critical strike avoidance by 10% and lasts 4 seconds, stacks up to 10 times. We're going to invest 1 point there, and we're going to go with a bit more damage over time while wielding a bow. We've unlocked Dark Quiver here, summon 7 black arrows that rain from the sky over 4 seconds, granting 100% increased damage to your next bow attack when retrieved. It's a buff. It's scaled by dexterity. We're gonna try it out. I don't know exactly what it is going to do. This is another elemental which we don't care for. Meditation. Dodge rating increased by 25 per point. Concentration cooldown minus 5% per point. Okay, so it's 4 seconds, and if we throw a point here, I guess we could do this. But I'm just gonna go with 1 point because I like that dodge rating, and 25 is pretty good. We're gonna keep investing in damage over time. We've unlocked the next set, but we're gonna look at it afterwards when we level it up. Let's go to active skills and then get going and start farming on the map. Over on this side, we're going with Puncture first, which is almost ready to level up again. We can get in this side. If you use puncture with a bow while you have a black arrow, puncture charges 100% fast. Oh, this is the charging side. I don't want to go in a charging side. One of the things that I wanted was this, getting the extra blade. I also wanted the increased poison. We can go in this direction. Attacking with puncture and hitting at least one enemy grants frenzy for a short time. Frenzy is a buff that grants 20% increased attack and cast speed. It cannot stack. We can do that. We're going with perforate level 2. We're gonna press the attack here once. We could even get 2 seconds there by investing another point. But for the moment, let's get Toxic Delivery. And let's see, we can turn poison to bleach chance. I don't want that. Puncture has a chance to apply efficacious toxin on hit, causing them to take increased damage over time. I like that. We're gonna invest a point there. Then over here on our shift, I already picked the shifting lenses, all elements on you, all negative elements on you, just because it was needed. I really felt like it was needed. And at this point, I don't know if I cared to get too much here. Jade arrow damage over time. It's only when we have Jade arrow. What I'm thinking is that I would like to get some vulnerability while shifting here. So we're gonna get this mana gain. We're gonna get Shadow Sleep, and then we're gonna go over here to throw a flask, an acid flask, and both when we are moving away from an area and when we're getting an area. I think that's something that I want. And then I threw multi-shot in this. Let me show you multi-shot first of all. So this is the way that multi-shot works. It's a multi-arrow, looks pretty good. It consumes some mana, but you can see what it does. And looking around, I felt like this is a skill that I wanted to level up because I want to get here. Readied arrows. Multi-shot has a chance to be shot when you use another bow attack with increased chance to stun, but it costs significantly more mana. 100% more mana, so we're moving from, where is it here, 8 mana cost to 16. So it's pretty good, or pretty bad if you want to put it this way. However, it's going to help us in auto attacking with another bow skill, which is pretty good. So we're gonna go with efficient draw. This multi-shot costs less mana, right? It's going down, the cost is going down. We're gonna get, multi-shot has a chance to apply armor shred on hit, I like that. We're gonna invest 2 points, that's 50%, and now we're gonna get readied arrows. At this moment, we need to figure out what we wanna do. We can get reduced attack speed, but get more hit damage. And then we can offer multi-shot the chance to knock back enemies. And I believe, for me personally, I like that. I don't know if it's going to apply to the auto-activated. Auto-fire chance on bow attack is 5%. I don't know if it's going to apply. It should, in theory. That's what I'm thinking in my head. But we shall actually see whether in action it really works or not. We could go with more projectile speed and damage. Heavy arrows, multi-shot deals more damage but hits in a smaller cone and can only shoot a maximum of 3 arrows. No, I want all the arrows. We can get an increased attack speed, maximum enemy spears, that could be very good. Multi-shot has a chance to poison on hit but can no longer cause slow. How is our poison at this moment? We're only at 82, so it's not the best in the world. I really need to focus some equipment on that, and maybe we'll even upgrade it before we move forward. We could go in this direction and actually apply slow, which wouldn't be bad. Yes. Let's go up here. So instead of going in this way where we are poisoning, we're going here and we're increasing the chance to slow the enemy down. Multi-shot has increased slow and bleed duration per point of dexterity. I like that a lot because we do have dexterity. Multi-shot has a chance to reset slow and chill duration on hit. I don't know if I care that much about it. We can do some pinning shots. Multi-shot deals more hit damage to slowed targets, and I like that idea. And that's it. So at this point, we're almost ready to push forward. Let's take a look at this bow. We have some fire damage there. There's nothing more that I can modify on it. How about on this? Can I have some poison? Chance to poison on hit. I am going to increase this to a good chance. What could give us poison damage? Now, can I throw it here? Poison damage, there it is. We're gonna do this next. Which one of these rings is good? None of them, to be honest. So it almost feels like it's a waste to do something crazy there. More poison. I can throw more poison over here. on our relic, and that's it. So now if we take a look at the character, we're only at 96 poison with a 55% chance to apply. A bit more on bleeding. But either way, let's see whether the power level is good or not. As you can see, we're getting the multi-shot, which is great. It almost seemed like they do the knockback. I like that I see the poison. I am happy with that. And I am wondering one thing though. Whether do we need to keep this equipped or not? Let's say that we are going with Dark Quiver. Would multi-shot still trigger? At the moment, I haven't seen it yet. Doesn't seem like that is the case now, does it? No. So we definitely need it to be equipped. We need it over here. And does it go in a cooldown when it activates? It does not. Okay, then my next question is, I don't really see the knockback. Is it very visible when I do this? Well, we can see it happening there. Just slightly. Not the most effective thing in the world. I thought that knockback would be a lot more visible. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Let's throw a bomb. I do like the bomb a lot. The smoke bomb. Throw it at your feet, and if you have a bit of a dodge chance like I have now to 21%, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna see the enemies missing you. They go blind as well, so that's helping a lot. With puncture, what are we going to do next? Probably we're going further in efficient toxins, right? Something like this. Getting them to get increased damage over time, or I could go a bit more directly using puncture, and hitting at least one enemy grants you bleeding fury. Above that grants bleed chance and stacks up to 3 times. Each stack falls off after 3 seconds of not attacking. Okay, well, don't we have anything here that's on poison? Unless we transform it from one effect to the other, it doesn't seem like it's going into poison. Instead of applying bleed, the greater puncture consumes all stacks of bleed on the target, causing them to deal immediately damage and restore health per stack consumed. That could also work. Every third puncture deals more damage and in a larger area. Let's do that. Let's pick that up. It is my main skill at the moment. I feel more powerful. In farming the previous area, I was doing around 30, 50 to 70 damage, and now I see that I've been moving up to triple digits, so that's good. However, a lot of the damage is also getting done by poison, so... So I'm thinking throwing better equipment in is the way to go here, more than anything else. I am going to apply 2 more of these, and I am running out of components to upgrade the poison damage. I could even throw in bleed, but at least by crafting equipment and throwing in some of the good stuff, I'm actually going to be more efficient. As you can see the debuffs, like when we're looking at one of these enemies, I am getting bleeding at level 8. Maybe I should start considering that instant bleed effect. Right, because if we have here in the stats that we are doing 172 bleed per stack, then if we're gonna do an instant effect, that will be super efficient. That will provide me with a lot of damage over time, and a lot of damage over time for poison, but bleed will apply instantly and thus reduce the enemy's health very quickly. If I want that kind of instant satisfaction, like that. So, a new level up. Elemental Barrage will leave it alone because we don't care. Reflection, increase dodge rating with concentration. Heightened senses, you have a chance to avoid critical strikes, and your critical strikes with the bow attack deal more damage. 7% critical strike avoidance. 7% is not bad. Let me also throw here the Dark Quiver. So how do you work with... Oh, it's on cooldown. So let it recharge and then we'll figure out how this works. Okay. So that happened. And now I retrieve it. Doesn't seem to be... Let me quickly get out of that situation. Do I have to go over them and collect them? Is that what it means? I'm gonna read the skill once again to try to figure out whether I correctly understood it or not. Look at the amount of enemies here. As far as AoE go, I don't think anyone can complain about what's happening now. Looking pretty good, we can handle things well enough. Summon 7 black arrows that rain from the sky over 4 seconds, granting 100% increased damage to your next bow attack when retrieved. Okay, so I'm guessing that we can pick up one arrow, then we can do a big attack, then we can pick up another arrow, do another big attack, and so on and so forth. So we're gonna keep it, and we're gonna try it out in a boss battle. I think that's probably the best time to do it. Like I'm going here, I'm shooting that, yes, and I collected another one, then I can collect another one, and so on and so forth. Okay, definitely a skill to try out and use, especially in a boss battle. Feels like that is probably the best time to do it. The only unfortunate thing, and I might respec out of, is concentration. It doesn't really seem like I'm able to keep it going.
Easy. Too easy.
Once again, we are here at the bridge. Overall, I think we're handling things well. It's just that I didn't manage to scale it up properly. Maybe I've gone in too many directions, both with the bleed and... I mean, it almost seemed, by the way that I've invested my stuff, it's mostly been about poison. But somehow I'm still doing more bleeding damage, even though I've done everything in the poison direction. So I would say that that means I haven't invested properly, right? There's something I've missed here. Maybe I should have looked more at the equipment and tried to figure out, rather than survivability, maybe some poison multiplier, poison chance, things like that. At the end of the day, one of the things that's happening, even if you're looking at some of the enemies, you can see that I am not applying poison on all attacks. You don't see those numbers going up. You see maybe one poison stacks for 2 or 3 of our quick attacks, and then it increases. Having 100% poison chance can be pretty good, because that means that you're applying damage all of the time right now. with a bit of luck, let's see. Over here, right? No, it's not this one. We could get back to back. Every 8 attacks with multi-shot is a double shot. We can now head down in this direction instead. And I think I like that idea. Reduce the amount of attacks to double shot with multi-shot, -2 per point. So we could get down to every 4 attacks to do this double shot. Which sounds pretty good. Let's get Shadow Sleep here. Now we're invulnerable while shifting. And over on this side, yeah, we're gonna go for this. However, it's going to take us some time to invest there. Or we might need to spec out of something. And there's nothing really that I want to remove at the moment. Or, let me do another double check here. So let's say that I remove this. We could reduce... I will try it just as an experiment, because I want us to see. So in order to respec out of this, we're gonna lose a level there, meaning we're gonna lose a point, but then we can retreat another point and then we'll be able to spend it, right? Nope, it just took us down 2 levels. Okay. I really thought that respecing would not, by 1 point, would not just level you down all the time, like on every level. I thought that you would lose 1 level, but then you can remove as many points as you want, but apparently that is not the case. Still, it's gonna take us less time to level up to the next level, and we're gonna go with the instant bleeding. As we can see right now, there's no huge difference since we have removed the poison, and which means definitely we are not doing enough poison damage. I like the frenzy. It's triggering quite often. We're getting that extra speed, especially for a slow attack such as puncture. Multi-shot is also helping a lot with AoE. At this point, I can say that it would be a perfect opportunity to farm for experience. If you were to play in my stead and not farm in between the episodes, not spend all of the points, you can definitely make yourself a bit more efficient. And as you can see here, at least for these fisher mobs, a few quick attacks and we're moving on. Plus we're getting a lot of experience. Look at the amount of stacks that we have on them. And the blade one also is probably the most efficient that we have at the moment. Which is not what I was going for. There you have it. So, more damage over time. Let's keep adding up to this. At this point, I am committed. These characters will remain with me, so whenever I want to go back to them and whenever I can do a better job, whenever I have a bit more knowledge, because I'm making a lot of mistakes. But I'm not really planning out these episodes. I have an idea for what I am going for, but I haven't looked in advance at the classes. I haven't figured out exactly what I want to do. I am starting from scratch. I haven't looked at the development that close to know what skills each and every one has. I know that this rogue has a falconer class. I know that it was revealed recently. I know you can, in a way, command it and it's a bit more controllable. I'm watching at least podcasts. I love to listen to podcasts or interviews with developers. I do like to look on those. But I haven't watched the video with the falconer to really know what's going on. So it's going to be sort of a early try. And I think one of the best things about doing it like this rather than watching those videos and playing is because you can get this sort of your first thoughts type of experience. If you're watching a video and you see someone playing the Falconer, at least for a first run, you're probably going to do something similar, especially if it's like a developer movie, right? Because it's like, hey, this is how they thought about it, so it's hard not to be influenced by what they're saying, right, and what they're doing. Okay, I like these dark arrows, or dark quiver, or whatever it's called. It's a nice big damage there, and you just go on the ground, especially when you're fighting bosses. This can be a very easy skill to use. You're already here, so don't have to go out of your way to do anything special. Okay, another level up. How close are we with puncture? Well, we'll take it a bit longer, just because I want us to see what mutilate is like. Let's go in this direction with hang loose, getting a chance to proc haste while we're using multi-shot. I like that, giving us even more movement speed and attack speed. Okay, we're about to get in a fight and I have leveled up. I've reached level 35, so I've also unlocked this specialization. I went with Dark Quiver towards more damage over time whenever we're picking up one of these black arrows, with both some bleeding chance and also some poison chance. We can get mutilate here, right, with the bleed stacks being consumed. Bleed stacks deal damage instantly. We're gonna try this out and we're gonna see how effective it is. All of a sudden, once we're applying a bunch of stacks, we should be pretty good. It does seem like we have these huge jumps in damage. But we shall try it against the boss here to the right. There's one more thing which I thought about, which I have no information upon right now. Let's see, let's do some dark arrows here, gather them up. One thing which I'm curious about is whether these skeletons have poison resistance or bleed resistance. It sounds logical that that would be the case, but I have no idea whether that is true or not. I'm guessing every monster has certain resistance, so maybe that's another downside that we have at the moment. Okay, I can see the bleeds being consumed and all that, and I can see some big numbers here every once in a while. I mean, at the end of the day, we're doing what, 188 bleed damage? So that point investment, I don't know whether I don't think it's necessarily that cool. I mean, it happens a bit more instantly whenever it happens. However, if you really think about it, applying 10 stacks of bleeding that do enough damage over time, over 3 seconds, probably pretty good, where you don't need this to happen instantly. I guess the main thing here is that you're getting healed per bleed stack consumed, and that is pretty good. But I really ain't sure that this is the way to go. It's a lot more fun to go in a different direction than with this one. That's what I'm thinking. If I had to draw a conclusion, if it's your first time playing with the Marksman, probably elemental damage is a bit more fun. It definitely requires less investment or thinking or planning behind it. Going for damage over time seems the more complex and, for me personally, interesting way of building this character. And if I was to start from scratch, then I would definitely replan the way I'm investing into certain skills. Once again, another idea, and I'll close with this. Once I got into puncture, very early on I said, hey, if I was going for damage over time and I needed to apply stacks, then getting flurry with the quick attacks is actually a lot better. Right? You can even go here with wild tactics, which gives you a chance, 10% chance to poison and bleed. So it's part of the same tree. Then it gives you damage over time, a bit more penetration to their resistance with bleeds and poison. And thus, this one is a bit more efficient because it's quick, it's a flurry, it's a free rapid strike attack. which have a chance if you increase that chance to apply bleed or apply poison, this one will definitely do the job a lot better than this one. Can you increase more? Can you offer more damage to puncture? Yes. Does it start with more damage? Yes, definitely. Is it the best at applying, different debuffs? Well, it's questionable. Maybe there are ways to do it, but it might require a bigger investment. That's going to have to be it for the Marksman. At least for this series, for this run where we're running up to level 35 or around that time and moving on to the next class just to get a feel for what it has to offer. Tomorrow we're returning with the Blade Dancer. Until then, hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, consider leaving a like on the channel. It would be much appreciated. You know how YouTube works. And until next time, I wish you all to have a wonderful day.